I'm Brad. This is McKay. And we were lucky enough to get to go to San Diego Comic Con this year because Grant and Jazz had a wedding to go to. We were excited though. We immediately said, hell yeah, we'll go. Along with our buddy from the shop, Sean. We went and we got to roam around San Diego and San Diego Comic Con for 4 whole days. Guys, it was an absolute blast. Our journey started here at 3 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. Buddy Matt Atkins, who draws and writes this book right here, Beeswax, he was nice enough to take us to Nashville, where our flight from Southwest Airlines took us all the way to Vegas. What did you think about your first flight, McKay?
That was something else. I didn't know
Wasn't it?
just with the way my anxiety works anyway.
Mhm.
Like I could handle one thing,
Sure.
but like two flights in a row and then dealing with hotels and getting around and going, it was overwhelming.
That's a
Like it was
lot of
it
shit to
was a
deal with.
lot for a country boy to do all
Absolutely.
at one time.
I was obviously a little worried just because I knew you were worried.
Yeah, I was a little apprehensive. I mean, I wasn't scared of
No.
the flight. It was just the accumulation of firsts all at one time. I didn't know if I had the stamina for that. I didn't know if I could. And there were moments on that last day, I was so tired,
Mm.
I didn't know if I could get back or not.
Oh, sure.
Like, I was like, I don't know if I can get on and off these.
Mm,
I said, boy, we had some wild experiences, though.
I'll tell you what.
Wild shuttle drivers and uh, uh, Brad scaring the crap out of me from talking to a writer for somebody who's an associate for comicbook.com.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I thought we were gonna miss our flight on the way back, but
uh, right across from our gate, it's a hamburger,
mm,
cheeseburger place. I'm like, I'm gonna go over there and get a cheeseburger. So I go over there, and there's a guy wearing a Canon Films T-shirt, which I'm like, that's dope
mm,
because that's an obscure uh, movie studio from the mid
mm,
'80s, early and mid '80s. And I was like, at first I didn't, and then I was like, ah, the hell with it. I'll go talk to him about it.
sure.
I was like,
You've been
hey,
talking to strangers all weekend.
yeah, I was like, hey, I dig your shirt. That's cool, Canon Films. And it turned out that he was in San Diego doing interviews for comicbook.com,
Mhm.
which is, one of probably one of the oldest comic book
Sure.
websites. And we just got to talking, and like I'm giving him my card and talking about how maybe they could do a story on just the Knoxville comic market. And he was into it. And Brad runs up like in an absolute panic. It's like I've tried to call you 2 times. We're gonna miss our flight. Oh my god! And like I abandoned my cheeseburger stand. I walk away from this guy, and like the flight before just now letting out,
Mm,
which means we didn't have long. But it's not like we were missing our flight that second.
not that second.
So like I go back and like dude's gone. I did get my cheeseburger, which was awesome. It was ridiculously expensive, but
It was ridiculously expensive.
it was a good cheeseburger. But that's just one of the
Oh
things.
yeah. Well, if you happen to be watching this, sir, we're gonna find you. We're gonna get in contact with you. But let's get back to just getting there. So we got there at 2 o'clock Thursday afternoon. We checked into our hotel, which we had a couple of little snags there. We had a few little snags throughout the weekend, but they were so minor that it really didn't matter.
No,
The
they were
only thing
very, very easy
Exactly.
fixes.
The only thing I was worried about is because Sean wasn't there yet and he had booked the hotel for us. I figured there was just going to be a problem, trying to get in without him there. But everything was fine. We got into the hotel. It ended up being only one bed instead of two. So we had a fold out couch and a cot to accommodate us the rest of the weekend. But
We were so tired, we could have slept on
we
concrete. It
were there.
wouldn't matter.
We were so tired, and we were there so little that it really didn't matter. We just went there to hang our heads, get some sleep, regroup, eat some pizza, and then go to sleep and on to the next. But so after landing in San Diego and then getting into the hotel, we finally made our way down to the convention at around 4:30, something like that.
Our first experience with senior.
Oh yeah, her first experience with senior, which
I mean,
he was a
before
trip.
every person that we met that was a native San Diegoan was incredible.
The
Those are the
nicest,
nicest people.
nicest
And
people.
boy, they liked us.
Yeah.
You'd have thought we were MVPs,
Hmm.
VIPs.
Absolutely.
We were
It kind of seemed like it, leaving every day on that shuttle, but
take us to
yeah,
Tijuana.
yeah, he really wanted to go
He
to
was just one of the
Nirvana.
most joyful. He said he was what 63.
Something like that.
He said he was 62, 63 years
Yeah.
old. And he said that he was just canceling negativity from
Hmm.
his life and like living life to the fullest,
Yep.
and everything was an adventure, and everybody was a new friend to me,
Hmm.
and that really like hit home with me
Of
because
course.
that's the way I try to
Sure.
be. And like he was just the coolest dude. We wound up riding with him what three times,
Something like that.
four,
3 times, yeah.
to the point where the other shuttle drivers were afraid to take us because he liked us so much. He was cool.
He's awesome.
To shout out right quick the other like great people we met, Frankie and Kelly
Mm.
at the shuttle that booked the shuttles for you.
Mm.
They were incredible. They went out of their way to make sure we were as comfortable as possible.
Mhm.
All the ADA people, again, which is the disability, because I have to have a scooter and things
Mhm.
to get around the show. They treated us incredible. Took care of Brad because he was with me. We were even ran into somebody with a Knoxville connection. The lady that ran the mobility scooter booth,
Marianne, right?
Marianne, or her sister works at UT here.
Mhm.
So we just kept running into people with either South connections or Tennessee connections
Uh-huh.
or Knoxville connections, and they just treated us like we were Todd McFarlane or something. Like I mean, they just treated like we were the biggest deal, and I mean that made it such an incredible experience.
So as soon as we got to the con, we kind of decided we're gonna split off and get a lay of the land. Within, I think it was about an hour, I ran across the McFarlane Spawn booth, and lo and behold, there he was, being interviewed, showing off either prototypes for new figures that are coming out or figures that are coming out later on this year, next year, whatever. So he was doing that, and so there was a small little group around, and eventually that kind of ended, and people crowded around him, started talking. And so all of a sudden, his handler came up to him with a suit and was like, "We got to go." And so everybody was like, "Ah, bye, 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 bye." And I decided I'm gonna follow this dude. I'm gonna follow this dude right out of the con if I had to. So we get out of the showroom, and he's in the entranceway. And I guess his something came up over his phone, so he kind of like lost a step from his handler, kind of fell back a little bit, and I saw that as my opportunity to go up and tap him on the shoulder and say, "Hello, Mr. McFarland. Huge fan. May I get a photo with you?" And he was nothing but nice about it. And then I started telling him that I work at a shop in Knoxville, which he replied with, "Oh, Knoxville, I know people in Oak Ridge." I said, "How do you know people in Oak Ridge? Who do you know in Oak Ridge?" He said, "Do you know Big Ed's Pizza?" I said, "I know Big Ed's Pizza. How do you know Big Ed's Pizza?" He said, their daughter, he and his wife, whenever he and his wife got married and were going on their honeymoon, Big Ed's daughter had gotten married and they were on their honeymoon, and they met on their honeymoon together, and I guess have sparked a friendship.
Friends for 39 years,
Yeah,
he
friends
said.
for 39 years. And he seemed to imply that he comes and visits them every now and then. So maybe we will have a Big Ed's pizza party at Nirvana with McFarland at some point. We'll see. But so that was the first time that we got to meet McFarland. And then what else happened on Thursday? Nothing too crazy that I remember.
Well, we got a lot done. I mean, I don't remember specifically, but I got quite a bit of stuff done and we only had like an hour and a half. By the time we got there, the show floor closed at
Yeah.
7, so
Mhm.
we only had about not quite 2 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, we got, I can't remember because it was a blur, but we got, he ran into McFarlane. I got several things on my Spider-Man art piece that I get signed. I
Mhm.
got uh, several exclusive things already.
Mhm.
I mean, day one, I mean, we were just there was no chill in it. We got
No,
in
no.
there, we got to work. And Brad did say when we got back, he's like, "McKay, you hustled." Like I was on a scooter, yeah, but boy, I was going. Like I
That thing
knew.
go fast. I think it was Saturday whenever you fucking went hard on that thing and you were scooting real fast.
People don't pay attention, man. They'll walk in front of you.
No.
You got to be constantly vigilant where you're going
Mm,
because you'll run over
of
somebody.
course. Yeah. No doubt about that.
But
It was very hard for you to make it through the showroom
but we
floor. I
got
definitely
so
get
much done.
that.
And then that man, that's just at that point we hadn't slept in like 24 hours.
Something like that. I mean, it was
Well,
very
I'm
stressful.
counting the time difference.
Yeah,
We would have gone pretty
sure.
much 24 hours.
Yeah, you're not wrong
And
there.
man, I used to could do that back in the day, but I mean at 50, I ain't got that juice no more.
No doubt.
But we crashed. We
Yeah,
were
super hard.
done.
But that didn't mean that we slept in because Saturday or Friday, we got right back to it. My big thing was I had to get the absolute Batman ash can. So, like an idiot, I circled that booth for about an hour and a half and I didn't get it. Apparently, two people were telling me two things. One was telling me that it was sold out, the other was telling me that it wasn't. But either way, even if I wasn't going to get that, I had to get this, which is the San Diego Comic Con exclusive for Detective 27. It's a Golden Age size, so I went ahead and got that. Funny enough, DC, I guess, printed more than 500, like they said that they did for San Diego, the ash cans. And we had one in the shop yesterday, so I bought it off of Grant. So they sent us one, but you went and saw Scotty Young on Friday, right? That was your big thing at first.
Yeah. So every day I had multiple things.
See, I went into this really with zero idea what I was going to do. I didn't research anything like an idiot. That's a flaw of mine. I'm going to San Diego. I'm going to do
But that
the
got you
Comic
to,
Con.
but that also got you to walk right up to Todd McFarlane
It
in the
did.
first hour.
It
So it
did.
goes both ways.
Yes.
What I tried to do was I tried to have two things,
To do it today.
two or three tent pole things to do each day.
Mm.
Like I want to be in this area for this thing. Scotty signing was one. Uh, the Some of the comic panels we got to go to on Friday.
Mm.
Uh,
That's awesome.
those were take some things take an extremely long amount of time to stand in line for. But I did not want to miss those because those featured exclusive variants that you got for going to the panel, and you got breaking news
Hmm.
on some big things. So we found out more about All In from
Yeah.
DC. Uh,
He did.
uh,
I didn't get to make it to that one. I didn't know he was going upstairs for it, and then he told me, and I rushed up there, and obviously there was a line.
I thought I was way ahead of time. Like
Sure.
I went up there just to scout it out, and then like, hey, I'll call Brad up when it's time to get in line. And I went up there, and you had to get in line right
Yeah,
then.
that was the line already. But yeah, so you got to make it into that one. So I got up there. I stood in line for what was going to be the Kevin Feige. That was the retrospective one, and that line was just massive. So I didn't think I was going to make it into that one. So I didn't make it into the DC one like I really wanted to. Uh, but so I made it in for the retrospective one, and we ended up getting two of these. Well, one each. These variants right here, which was super cool. And then we got a lot of cool, I guess not necessarily news in that one, but it was just a fun con to
Mhm.
get to hear Feige talk
It's not
about
often you get to be in a room with Kevin Feige.
exactly, and get to hear him talk about the influences on the movies and the source material that went in to helping make some of these movies. But after that one came the what was it? What was it called? The Marvel next big thing, yeah, where we actually got these variants. Had to go to a hotel about, I don't know, 500 yards away to pick these up. And we've got a ton of cool news in that.
Learned about even though this is if you show them this again, even though this is Spider Gwen #1, this is our first look at the TVA series that's coming. So this is the first cover appearance of Doc Clock and Sir
Mhm.
Seconds, who are part of the Miss Minutes family. And this is going to be a series that's going to be coming up. So this is essentially the first appearance of those characters.
Yeah.
First cover appearance, anyway.
First cover appearance, absolutely.
So that was really cool.
Mhm.
We got to see a lot of the things that Marvel has coming as far as we got to see a lot of things Marvel has coming as far as a lot of anniversaries. We've got several characters that are having their 50th anniversary this
That's
year.
right. Yeah, we're getting a Wolverine, Iron Fist. Yeah.
And there's just so many things they covered almost every facet of Marvel,
Mhm.
different parts of the publishing universe, and it was just really cool. And they brought a lot of the artists out to come and talk,
Mhm.
and uh, it was just a cool experience. This
It
is
was a
the
very
only
cool experience.
panels we really got to do, just because of again the massive time.
Massive amount that it
I
takes.
mean,
Yeah.
it takes, and the number one question I got when we came back was, "Were you in the panel for the Robert Downey Jr. panel?" That would have literally taken our trip today.
No, we were sitting oceanside. I was jamming a French dip down my mouth.
Living our best
Oh
lives
yeah,
on
it was
the deck of
fantastic.
this really
Yeah.
nice restaurant right on the bay, looking at all
Yes.
these beautiful sailboats,
Mhm.
and that
It
was the
was nice.
best experience because we got to have that moment, that cool moment, that great setting.
Uh,
And the news came in. I mean, all three of us got bombarded by family
yeah,
members and buddies,
my sister texted me about it.
and we got to my buddy Ray, who I'll shout out, Ray Wilson. Uh,
Is that right?
he sent me the first message that said, "While y'all are meeting J. Master Straczynski, the whole world exploded." The first thing I thought was this like a political thing or like a international thing had popped off, and like a 9/11 thing had happened
Yeah,
while we're on
exactly.
the bay.
Mhm.
But no, it was the RDJ
Yeah.
news, and it was just cool for the three of us just to get to sit there. We had about I'd say a 2 hour
Uh,
conversation where we just rapped about the geek stuff,
yeah.
man. And then that's what, even though we wasn't at the con at that moment, I mean
Oh, you could feel the energy, especially the next day.
that was the essence of what con
Mhm.
life is. Like,
Absolutely.
we were sitting there with our friends in this beautiful setting we wouldn't ever be in otherwise.
Mhm.
I got to sit there and rap on, what had just happened. And that's as cool a memory as anything that happened
Absolutely.
in the shows. If not that the show isn't insane.
Yeah.
Like, you can just feel it. Like,
Oh,
you're like a cell in a battery there.
mhm.
And while it is extremely well organized for the most
For
part,
the most part, yeah. I think
uh,
I think some of the booths and the lines and stuff like
yeah,
that really,
well, individual
but
individual companies and individual booths could be screwy about their preparation,
mhm.
but overall, it was the best run show I've ever been to. Some of the people we got to meet.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get to
That
that.
was the craziest thing, is that
We need somebody to talk about the Eisners.
I couldn't have dreamt that we were going to get to meet so many high level people in the
Mhm.
industry. Uh, just bananas the access that we had, and how nice they were. Todd
Everybody was so
McFarlane
nice.
couldn't have been any more humble and nice. I mean, you say that, and like people go, "Well, there's like this degree of, nice for a celebrity is different than nice as a person."
Mhm.
That wasn't that at all.
No,
He was incredibly gracious
yeah.
and kind. Uh,
'Cause we
and
got to meet him on Saturday, correct?
yes, uh, we got to do that honestly because, again, with the incredible access that that you get in different ways, because we won the Image Award, we were able to talk to Image and secure a ticket for
Mhm.
the McFarlane signing without having to fight a line so
Yeah.
badly. But nobody fussed. We were front of the
Yeah.
line.
First to meet him.
Everybody was cool.
He remembered me.
He remembered Brad. He told me again the Oak Ridge story and
Mhm.
about Big Ed and his friend. And we told him that we won the Image Award, and he stood up again and shook our hand, and just couldn't have been nicer. And one thing, not that this is all that it's about, but it's an interesting thing to note, is that despite what some artists charge, Todd being arguably the biggest person there,
He could have charged $100.
he could have easily, and we'd have paid it.
Mhm.
He charges zero to sign. And I think that's just a testament to how popular, how big he really is, but how he cares about his fans. And it's not that it's all about money, but I think that's the thing that's worth noting is that the person who could have charged the most charges nothing.
Absolutely.
So that speaks to his character and
I
what he
agree.
thinks about his fans.
Hmm.
Um, but Jim Lee, which we'll get to in a moment, how we wound up, how I probably traumatized Jim Lee at this show. Um, Jim Lee, Eric Powell, Kevin Eastman, uh, Humberto Ramos, who's incredibly cool. Todd Knock and his wife. And that's probably the second or third time I've met him at shows, and he's always incredibly gracious. There was a really nobody that springs to mind that was just hard to be around
No, absolutely
or
not.
difficult. And usually the nicer ones were the ones that had the biggest excuse not to be.
Sure, absolutely.
Joe Quesada, Jim Lee, McFarlane, again, the nicest
Yeah.
people you could have asked them to be.
Yeah, we just randomly ran into
Kevin
some.
Eastman
Oh, super
would talk
nice.
to anybody,
Uh-huh.
and like no pretension with any of the bigger people at all. Like Scotty was running. Now, Scotty was in the middle of a massive line when I got to that. So my interaction with Scotty this time was very brief.
But you've talked to him a ton before.
It's not my first time talking to him. Uh, he said it's not something that's going to happen right now, but he said we'll eventually work out getting him to come here and see us. Is that going to happen this year? No, but down the line, Scotty will come see us. That might be 2 or 3 years, or when the schedule lines up.
Yeah.
But he told me this is the second time he told me that he will eventually come here.
Oh, yeah.
As much as anything, going to these shows for us and for the shop is about connections more than uh, what books we bring back,
Yes.
or it's about building for the next time you see 'em.
Mhm.
And being the true person that you are, and we talk about our store, we talk about our customers. Almost everybody we talked to on the list of big people were incredibly impressed with the Eisner nominations and the Image Award. But what they were the most interested in talking about was our passion for our customers. They want to, we don't look at it from this perspective because we look at them as celebrities sometimes, or the creators of things. But it's no different than this was a lifelong dream of mine to get to go to this show. But it's their dream to get to do these things. It's their dream, to get to produce these things that are bought and that we care about. So I was just really impressed with how many of the higher level people they wanted to talk about our customers, or at least how we take care of them, how they take care of us. And I told them, and I'll tell you, the awards we get have little to do with us.
Sure.
It's because our customers support us, because y'all are here and you believe in us and you inspire us to do more for you. And then they see that energy, and that's why we get to do these things.
Absolutely.
It's not because I'm anything or Brad's anything or Grant more special than anybody else. It's because you support us and they see that. And they appreciate you because you're the reason they get to have their drink.
Absolutely.
So it sounds silly and made up, but it's a really big deal.
100%.
It's a really, really big deal. Uh, but yeah, like huge the things. The Scotty signing. The Scotty signing was nuts because it was probably the hardest one for me to get into.
He did at the Marvel booth,
It was
right?
at
So
the
it's
Marvel
just
booth. So like people, they wouldn't like form an official line until right before. So you got people who are just standing in this massive crowd. You don't have any idea where to be at. So they put me where they thought the front of the line was going to be, and then when they came out, it was in a completely different place. So you had people just. It wasn't the best handled situation, but again, with me being on the scooter, they want to get us out of those lines as quickly as possible. Not as much for us getting to go first as it is just to get us out of the
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
space we take
Yeah.
up. But I did get to talk to Scotty briefly, and like I said, my general strategy was I had maybe 2 to 3 things that I knew I had to do each day. I wanted to be for Friday. I wanted to be at Scotty, and I wanted to be at those panels.
Mhm.
Uh, and then whatever time I had left, I went anywhere I could go. I made sure I covered every row of that place.
Mhm.
And then, folks, the concept of this and the execution of this is two different things. You can say it's a big show, and boy, is it.
It's
But
huge.
almost 8 football fields long. Okay, I'm on a motorized scooter. Now, you don't get to go very fast because,
You have
you're still in like
thousands and thousands and thousands of people.
the foot traffic is insane.
Yeah.
But it takes at least 10 to 15 minutes constantly moving to get from one end of that to the other.
Yeah.
You don't just get to go, oh, I need to be in Artist Alley and I need to be back on row 200. I mean, that's 36 rows away. Was it more than that? 37?
Something like that.
30 something rows away. And that sounds like, oh, that's not that far. Boy, is it.
You got people packed in like sardines at every corner. And like one of the big things for me, I didn't realize at first, and I should have learned this at Heroes, but really take pictures of the row that you want to go back to or text it to yourself or whatever. Because I was looking for that SMZ where Eastman was the second day whenever I had to go back and buy the tickets. And boy, I could not find it. I was like, I swear it was right here. And then I turn a corner and I was like, I don't remember seeing that yesterday. It looked like new shit popped up all the time, but it wasn't. There was just always something new to look at that you hadn't seen before.
And it don't matter how many times you do it, you learn a more efficient, better way of doing something every time. Now, did I have a basic idea of what I was doing? Yes. Is it going to be anything like how I'm going to do the next time I go? No.
Yeah,
Like, there's more efficient ways to do things. Uh, it's about do it the way you want to do it. It really is about time management.
yeah, absolutely.
You had to be like, I had to think, I need to go back and go to these 3 booths. And logistically, can I get that done before my next big thing
Mm,
happens? And you have to be good at that. Um, the main things I learned is no matter what, and a couple of the hiccups we alluded to earlier we had with the shuttles and things um, kept us from being there as early as we needed to be.
yeah. We were
And
400 yards away from an affiliate, a hotel that was affiliated with the con. It was essentially the same hotel complex, but two different hotels. One was affiliated with them, the one we were staying at was not. And so we could not use that shuttle that we had thought that we were able to
in
use
the morning,
in the mornings. But in the evenings, we would go by and talk to them, and they were happy to help us out every single evening. So we saved a good amount of money on Ubers that way.
the vast importance in getting there as early as possible if you want any shot. And we can't, of course, this all depends on logistics. Uh, Absolutely, if exclusives are something we really need, we need to be there on Wednesday night.
Yes, Wednesday night.
Because one of the hottest tickets of the show, which was J. Scott Campbell's stuff, they were gone by 2 o'clock on Thursday.
Mhm.
We arrived at 5 o'clock on
Yeah,
Thursday.
they're all gone.
So
It's just
yeah,
people hanging around his booth the rest of the weekend.
yeah, there was nothing to say. There
Yeah,
wasn't anything else to buy.
yeah,
They sold their entire weekend allotment in essentially 3 hours. There's things we learn. I mean, and next time I go, God willing, then we got a better plan.
yeah,
Not that
absolutely.
this wasn't great. It surely was.
Mhm.
But between the connections we've made and then here's another thing. And I know we kept talking more about like the local people, but I can't speak enough about how much of that's going to matter in the long run.
Absolutely, yeah.
The path we'd have to take, because it was still a little walk for me to get to building, and there was just a crossing guard. Um, the young man that was there every morning, where his post was, is there was a street lamp or post there that had a concrete base to it that I could sit on for a moment, catch my breath so I could make the last leg of it. And we talked to that gentleman every morning. He made sure we were cool. Every morning we were there. And at the very end, when we're getting in the shuttle the last time, I hear, now I get Hey McKay here all the time. Like, if we go to the movies or go somewhere, Hey McKay, hey, buddy.
Did not
So
expect to hear that in San Diego.
we're about to get on the shuttle. Hey McKay, don't go. Hey buddy, say bye. And it was our crossing guard
He
buddy.
was.
And it's just
He came over, gave us handshakes, little kind of side hugs, and
that's gonna, everybody wanted to hug us by, everybody wanted to shake our hand. We impacted people as much as they impacted us, which was a
absolutely.
lot.
Hmm.
But that's what's gonna matter in the long run. When we go back, when we go back, you know, a lot of those same people are gonna be there.
So yeah, hopefully we'll get to run into those. I would imagine Marianne helps out the uh,
This is gonna make that scooter
with the
situation easier
scooter.
to do.
Yeah,
Not that it's just about what you get, but I genuinely enjoyed getting to know all
mhm,
those people. And it's nice when you know that you made some impact on somebody.
absolutely,
That kid didn't have to run over,
absolutely not.
but that was as important a moment to me as any.
Well, he sees hundreds of thousands of people that weekend.
Yeah.
And how many people do you think actually stopped and talked to him every single day? None. You know, somebody gave him a beer the last day though, so that was good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So, Brad, what other huge event did we get
Well, so
to?
our big thing on Friday after the panels was getting to go to the Eisners, which is essentially what we were there for. This is our second year getting nominated for the Spirit of the Eisners Retailer Award. We knew we weren't going to win because we didn't make it into the top five. It's top five or the finals. And from there, you have a chance of winning it overall. But as we've been told in the past, that it takes a few years. You have to show consistency, I guess getting the honor of being
But
nominated.
really, and I know it sounds like something you just have to say, but it really isn't. The company that we keep in this, just getting nominated is massive.
Mhm. Huge.
Massive. If we never make a final or we never win, it really doesn't matter.
Mhm. We've been
Just that
nominated.
just that we got to be there and just that is an incredible honor.
Mhm.
There's only 28 stores in the world get nominated each year. And I'm here to tell you, there's a lot
It's a
of
lot.
incredible shops in this
Mhm.
country. And that we got to, talk to the people who were finalists. We
Mhm.
got to network with them.
They had heard of
They
us
knew
too.
who we
Mhm.
were. They knew about the image award. They wanted to talk with us. Uh, and that's what this is about. Again, it's just the spirit of like networking, and not just for gain, but just to share ideas and share experiences. And those people run shops like we run a shop. And try to be creative and try to be mindful of our customers. And I can tell you, every shop that we came across, or the people I talked to anyway, it's the same spirit that it is here. I mean, it's why it's called a Spirit of Comics Award instead of Best Comic Shop.
Sure.
I don't think you can quantify that, but they're talking about who amplifies the spirit of the
Mhm.
industry. And the beautiful things that these other shop owners that were in the finals, that do in their shops and creative things and just beautiful poetry and things that they have on their walls and hanging. It's just their love for their customers, and that's what this is about.
Absolutely.
You know, that shared experience, and it comes down to, man. All this comes down to is that we all love this goofy hobby,
Mhm.
and we're all misfits and crazy, and we're all the same kind of crazy.
Sure.
You run into people that are super passionate about GI Joe.
Oh
They
yeah.
can give a thing about anything else,
Yeah.
but they can tell you every minor character in a GI Joe book.
Mhm.
I'm like that with Spider-Man. Brad's like that with Swamp Thing
Hmm.
and such.
Hmm.
But that's what it's about. That we can all we're each other's people.
Absolutely. It's
And
all the same, even though there are little differences.
whatever you want to call it, nerd stuff, geek stuff, pop culture stuff, you had 150,000 people there that beat with the same heart.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
And a lot of them probably don't even care about that side of the con where the comics are, but it doesn't matter. It's one shared community.
but
It's all there to have a good time and just, you know, fly your freak flag or whatever you want to call it and just embrace that we're there together and we're having a great time being ourselves.
so at the Eisners, we got to see, and this is one thing I really learned, and I didn't really think about it till we were there. But there are so many things. I've done this. I've been a collector for 41 years. You know, I learned something every day I was there.
Mhm.
You know, at the Eisners, we got to see things that were nominated, things I'd never even heard
Never
of,
even heard of.
that are just incredibly
Mhm.
artistic and creative, that I wouldn't have experienced or I wouldn't even known to have looked for.
Exactly.
So I highly recommend, of course, going to the show, but you know, each year look at the Eisner noms when they come out, when the nominations come out, and I don't mean like for our stuff. I mean for the artists and the books and
Yes,
the
yes.
graphic novels, and we're gonna make a bigger focus on trying to having those books in the shop
Absolutely.
here. Um, you know, maybe do some kind of Eisner display or have a chance for all of you to get to experience and see some of these things that maybe we don't know to carry
Mhm.
otherwise. But Brad, if you
Yeah.
want to show us some examples,
Yeah. So yeah, as he was saying, my big takeaway from the Eisners was not only just seeing a bunch of cool shit that I wanted to see, and uh, uh, it was really just these smaller published books that I'd never heard of, and it just really struck a chord with me. So I texted Grant afterwards and said, "We have got to start carrying some of this stuff." So our first big one was probably the most winning at the Eisners this year was this book Roaming that we had heard about while we were there, and it won Best Original Graphic Novel, correct? And Best Writer and Artist.
a pencil or a sticker.
This is by Jillian and Mariko Takayami. And we are now carrying this in the shop, and I'm super excited to get into this one. And then another one that I saw, and I actually ran across the publisher's booth. This is Silver Sprocket, and this is Caroline's Cash Heepy Hoopoo. And
Watch your mouth.
actually, Silver Sprocket has already reached out to me via email, talking about how they're super excited to work with us in the future. So hopefully we will be able to get some of that rolling for you guys. And then along with that, we also got to meet Daniel Warren Johnson while we were there. He ran into him and got to talk to him for a little bit, who obviously writes and currently still draws.
He's not drawing now; he's writing.
Okay. Has he ever?
Yeah, he did the first one.
Yeah, okay, yeah, he drew the first arc, but now he's just taking over he's sticking with the writing. So we got to talk to him afterwards,
He
and
was incredible,
he's super nice,
super nice.
such a nice guy. And so while we were at the Eisner's, we were about to pack it up. McKay was sitting down, and I just happened to look into the ballroom, and there was Jim Lee. He was standing there. He was talking to a group of people, and I looked down at McKay and said, "There's Jim Lee over there. I'm gonna go check this situation out." So I walk in there. At that point, the group that he was talking to had dispersed, and it was just he and I. And obviously, I went up to him, said, "Mr. Lee, huge fan. Can I take a picture with you?" And so he said, "Absolutely." So we took a picture, and we were already walking the way of where I had left McKay. So it's like, okay, he's still going that way. He's not just going to book it and go the other way now. So we'll run into McKay. And as soon as I turned around and realized McKay, who, how tall are you?
6'2".
6'2". And I'd say Jim Lee's probably 5'5", 5'6".
He was
McKay
little.
was just over him. Mentally, I'm a huge fan of work of Nirvana, always mom, and probably scared that dude to death. But as you could tell, you're like, oh shit, there's a huge man in front of me. But he eventually realized that he was with me, and we worked at a shop in Knoxville, and he was super impressed about that. So I talked to him, gave him our card. Yeah, so at the end of all of this, McFarland has our cards, Jim Lee has our cards, Kevin Eastman has our cards, Joe Quesada has our cards,
Daniel Johnson.
Daniel Warren Johnson has our cards, Humberto Ramos has your card, which we've already talked to them. Eric Powell has your cards, which so this got that signed. So yeah, I mean, we what we set out to do, I think we accomplished with flying colors.
Wild success.
Wild success.
We had, like I said, we had goals. I had goals each day to get tent pole stuff done. And the rest of the time, you just booked it and tried to soak in as much as you could, try to fit it in the time constraints, or at least I did.
Yeah, yeah.
Brad was just kind of free form.
I was just I I love Golden Age books. I love Silver Age books. I clean and press on the side. So I wanted to run around and see what I could see there, and I saw amazing stuff. I saw some amazing original
Wow.
art. There's some booths there that I don't understand how they got some of this
There was
shit.
a movie poster booth there
Oh
where they
yeah,
had
yeah.
bought out a theater in like North Dakota
Oh,
that had cataloged all of their posters for like the last 60 years. And I mean, I was not cash paired for those gentlemen. But I wish I had it here to show, but I took them home. I got a prom night original poster, very cheap. The prices were ridiculously cheap. I got a Stephen King's Cat's Eye poster. I got a Psycho 2 press kit,
mm,
original press kit.
God, I think it's
That had
awesome.
all the original press pictures in it they'd send to newspapers to print the reviews
Mm,
and stuff. And they could pick what picture they wanted to use. Like every newspaper in America wanted using one stock
yeah,
picture.
exactly.
Um, but and gosh, so many booths, so many cool things.
Mhm.
And the other thing is there were such like random awesomeness.
Oh yeah.
Like you can't possibly absorb. I try.
Mm.
God knows I try to prepare and look at the map and read the who's there. I would stumble across just the coolest stuff. Uh, the Flash, Sam Jones from uh, Flash Gordon.
Mhm.
He had a whole Flash Gordon
He
booth,
did.
and like I didn't know it was there. I
Yep.
was just going down a random aisle, and like there's Sam Jones.
Mhm.
One of the actors from The Shawshank Redemption that played one of the bad
Mhm.
guys. He's just like sitting there near a doorway,
Yeah, yeah.
and I was like, all right,
Mhm.
like this is a person I'm going to talk
Yeah.
to right now. Um, is it the main reason to go? No,
Mhm.
but it's just super random and cool.
Mhm.
So like people that you've watched in movies or that you've read their books, you just run into them,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean they're there to make money, yes,
Oh,
but still, I mean, uh, it's just cool.
yeah,
Like you don't know what you'll run up to.
exactly.
I mean, I didn't get to see either one of them. But we were on the show floor at the same time Keanu Reeves was there.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, you're 8 football fields long, so
Mhm.
you can't see what
Yeah, you can't
everybody
just
is at one
scope them out
time.
over there.
But Colin Kaepernick was
Mhm.
there. Of course, that's turning into its
That
own
turned
little
into a
thing.
shit show.
But I mean, not that I'm a particular huge fan of him, but what a random ass
Yeah.
person to meet at a
Now
show.
he's trying to hawk AI comics.
So I mean, not that it's any particular one person. It's just this. You literally, there were so many stories online where people would just run into random
Mhm.
people. Well, it's not San Diego, but in uh, MegaCon earlier this year, I'm just walking around and I'm a big wrestling fan. Everybody knows I dig WWE. So there was a wrestler at the time named Omos, and he's like 7'3". All right, y'all, you think I'm taller than you? He was that much taller than me.
Mm,
I mean, this massive man, and he was just there because he's a fan. He
right.
wasn't there for a booth or representing the company. He was just a geek that wanted to come check out
Absolutely.
MegaCon. But that's
That's what
what
it's all about.
happened.
That's
There were
what it's
plenty of
all about.
people who ran into Keanu Reeves
Yeah.
over by the Boom booth. Imagine that you're at a show and you're like, hey, I'm going to go up here and check out this booth.
I've been watching him since
Hello, Keanu Reeves.
Parenthood. You know, like that was early '90s Keanu Reeves. I've known about him for a long time. Yeah,
It was like Brad running into Tom McFarlane. How many people there would have given their right arm to have had a personal conversation with Tom McFarlane if Brad was walking down the right road at the right time?
absolutely.
That's what
That's
Comic
what
Con
it is.
is.
That's what it
It's
is.
just free form craziness. Like again, I poured hours into preparing for that thing. I read the program ahead of time. I read the schedule ahead of time. I tried to memorize the map ahead of time. Still didn't matter. You still find crazy
Walked in and
things.
met the one guy that you were essentially there to meet. Like that was your a
It's
number
a
one.
wonder I didn't just teleport in. I was immediately like, "What row are you at? I will be there in like 3 seconds. I don't care if I'm across. I'm gonna mow down some kids on my way across to
It,
the McFarlane booth."
it is out of there. But yeah, I mean, God, that was just such a fun time. We even got to run across PSA. They were there. We got to check out their new slabs. They're thick. They are big. But like, this is supposedly a prototype. So hopefully we will see them scale that down a little bit. I ran across a YouTuber that I like, Collector's Comics, David. His dad actually is the head of PSA. So he was there, I think, just hanging out with his dad, not necessarily promoting PSA. But talked to him for a bit, ran into Swaggle Comics, just said hey to him, tell him I like the channel. Yeah, I mean, just there was just so much shit to do there, and it was so much fun.
Well, we're gonna do this again, hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon, guys.
Hopefully, that's not my last shot at that.
Absolutely not. I
But boy, am I
refuse.
ready for next time. You think I prepared for it this time, boy? You ain't seen nothing
Oh
yet.
God, that's gonna be nuts next time if we get to go.
Ready to rumble.
Absolutely.
Well, want to wrap it up?
Guys, we're gonna wrap it up. Yeah, sorry if the video is a little shitty on this one. My phone was having some difficulty, so we just did this one on my computer.
And I'm shaking the.
Whatever. It's not that big of a deal. But if you like the video, please, guys, subscribe, like the video, comment down below. Check us out over on Whatnot. I've got multiple shows going on throughout the week. Instagram, all that good shit. I guess that's
And if you
about
have
it.
any questions or anything, you want to
Yeah.
hear more about a particular thing or how to do it, if you want to go next year, happy to give any advice. Come by. I'm about to head back over here to the register and do some more McKay storying and selling some books. And
As you do.
get down here and let me sell you some books today, folks. Come on down.
Come down anytime, guys. But thank you all, and please stick around because I've got a lot of pictures coming your way. All right, bye, guys.
Bye.